This is the Infinite Receiving Podcast, helping conscious leaders like you tap into a wealth of abundance across all areas of your life and business. My name is Susie Ashworth. I am a single mom of 3 and author of the Sunday Times best-selling book, Infinite Receiving: Crack the Code to Conscious Wealth Creation and Finally Manifest Your Dream Life. On this show, I'll be sharing with you how you can upgrade your identity and your reality to create the life that you have been dreaming of. Because you are ready to be an infinite receiver. Hello, you gorgeous human beings. It is Susie Ashworth speaking, and you are listening to the Infinite Receiving Podcast. I'm feeling quite excited actually about this episode and the next few episodes. I've got like a little series planned for you all around change and transformation. I am recording this on the first day of a brand new month. We are into June. Can you believe it? I was chatting with a friend earlier on today, and she was saying that it has been the fastest 6 months of the year that she has ever known in her life. I don't know whether I quite relate to that. Let's get to the end of the month for me to be able to make a judgment call. But I do know that life has felt like it is accelerating more and more as I get older. And I also know that despite this year actually being pretty incredible, there's been so much that has shifted and grown. And I feel like I have shifted and grown in so many areas. And at the same time, there are still places where I feel like my old identity rules the roost. And I know that for where I am going and what I desire to create and the next level of receiving that I am so ready to unlock, there are those parts of me that have to let go of the reins. I have to be willing to change. And there's a sentence that Joe Dispenza says that resonates with me so much. And that is, nothing changes until you change. And I would say that when it comes to transformation, the human being that I am today is so wildly different from who I was a decade ago. The number of people that I have seen transform their entire lives because of the things that myself and the team have taught and coached on and mentored through. I have never been more obsessed with transformation, never been more obsessed with change. And what I have found to be true in this whole journey is the more that I am able to be the embodiment of, the easier it is to shift. And so what has also been true for me is that there are models, systems, and processes that I have come back to again and again and again and again. And I think that one of the stories that I hear and can fall into myself is the idea that, oh, this isn't working anymore. This used to work for me, but it doesn't work anymore. And I would say that whilst I think that it is important to change things up, like sometimes things can get a little bit stale. It is in the staleness that things stop working rather than the system or the process. It is the coming at the thing from a place of complacency, or I've done this before and I know it all, instead of curiosity of, where did I stop doing it? Why did I stop doing it? What was it that was more attached to the old way of doing things, or the old way of thinking about things, or the old way of being about things that made me stop? When did I forget to be in practice? When did I stop treating this like a curious novice? I think that those questions are so helpful when it comes to reminding myself that there are certain systems that are tried and true. And the most powerful systems usually are never the most complex. They're actually super simple. And when it comes to transformation and change, that feels really, really true for me. And I also know that sometimes when you're able to just look at things from a slightly different perspective, everything lands differently. And so, as we go into this second half of the year, I am taking what is tried and true. I'm taking what we teach our students. I'm taking what we share with our clients, and I am sharing it with you whilst layering on some new perspectives, new ways of talking about things that I've been talking about for the last decade, things that have served me for the last decade, so that we're able to freshen it up. We're able to fool the brain into feeling like this is something novel, and it is in the desire for novelty, for that shiny new thing, that we give ourselves the opportunity to latch on and get curious, take that curious novice approach, as well as being able to take actually what I am sharing and the studying of when it comes to transformation and change is sitting on the foundations of things that have worked for not just a decade for me, but decades of research and study and case studies and science. So I feel really excited to be sharing the next few episodes with you. And I would love for you to listen with a whole new level of intention. So, my question for you is, what is one area in your life that you would love to change? And as we get into it, I'm going to ask you to be very specific about what this change looks like. But for now, I just want you to think about one area that you are going to use these episodes to work on with. So, that aside, I thought it would be just super useful to share with you the process of transformation. So, we kind of work within the foundations of infinite receiving. So, I know without a shadow of a doubt, if a client is stuck in their life, if somebody is stuck in their business or whatever situation that you want to present me with, I know that there's work to do in one or more of the key four pillars. So that is first the pillar of greatness. It's knowing who you are. It's remembering who the fuck you are. Because when you remember that you are a walking, talking miracle, that there is only ever one of you, that your voice is important, that your message is important, that you yourself have something unique, that you are here and destined to move through the world, sharing and supporting and helping people with. When you start to operate in your life from that place, things change. Secondly, you can't do it on your own. We are part of a collective system. And even though everything in this world is set up to make us forget that we are all connected and there is no separation, that is a lie. It's an illusion. And when we remember that there is no separation, it makes it so much easier in my mind to allow ourselves to be supported. The support is here, but it's too easy to move through life acting like you have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. So again, when somebody is stuck, we have to look at where should they be calling in more support? Where is it obvious that they need more assistance? The third pillar is the pillar of love and being willing to move through the world with an open heart. And I know that there will be some people listening to this being like, I know incredibly successful people who absolutely do not have their hearts open. And I would say, I get it. I see it. I have experienced it both firsthand and just watching some very successful people who I no, not operating from an open heart. And if you're listening to this podcast, there is a part of you that resonates with me. It's as simple as that. And when I think about success, and when I think about any of the changes that I have made in my life and all of the changes that have got me to this space, the changes that I am most proud of are the changes that I have made when I've allowed myself to be vulnerable, when I have allowed myself to make a move, not knowing whether it's going to work out or not. They're the changes that I've made that have required risk to self. And I believe that in order to take a risk, as I say this, I also recognize that this isn't exclusively true, but for people who resonate with me, in order to take a risk, you have to be willing, as I say in my book, to have your heart smashed into 1,000 pieces. If you want to change your love life, you have to be willing to allow your heart to be smashed into 1,000 pieces. If you are operating from a place of protection or defense, you can never go all in. And so I would argue, even the people who we perceive to be successful, who are operating from a place of hardness and operating from a place of hardness, my belief, this is not scientifically proven, but my belief is that if you taught that person to operate from an open-hearted place, that the level of success that they feel internally is going to be exponentially greater than the material success that they have achieved to date externally. And because in my world, utopia doesn't have to only be a dream when you are able to operate from an open heart. So I'm thinking about people like Nelson Mandela. I'm thinking about people like Gandhi. When you're able to operate from an open-hearted place, the level of external success a person can achieve is exponentially greater than those who are operating from a place of defense and protection. So love is that third pillar. And then the fourth pillar is the sexy one, conscious co-creation. It is working with the energy and the frequency of the universe and understanding that you are a limitless human being. And that when you choose to operate from that place of being, and so that is combining the belief and the knowing with practical action, you're unstoppable. So this is the foundation of all of our coaching and really helping people to move beyond their stuckness. It's like, which one or more of these pillars do we need to work on? Once you have identified which pillar you're going to work on first, you then have to move into the process of transforming. And this is where we use the transformation method. And so I just want to talk you through what the 6 phases of transformation are. And then we're going to get into the juice. So the first 2 phases are awareness and aim. And I talk about these 2 phases in tandem because they're interchangeable. Sometimes somebody will come to us and be like, I know exactly what it is I want to do. I know exactly where it is I want to go. I just don't know how to do it. How do I do it? Great. So we start with the goal. And other times people are like, I actually don't know what it is that I want to create. I don't know. I just know that I don't want to be doing what it is that I'm doing. And so we're starting actually from the initial stages of awareness. Like, you cannot get to Scotland from England if you don't know where you're starting from in England. You have to know your starting destination, or at least if we're programming into the GPS, like, take me to Edinburgh. Okay, I can take you to Edinburgh, but where are we starting? If you don't know that, i.e., I know that I don't want to work in the job that I am in, that's great. You then go deeper. So what is it about the job that you're in that you don't like? so much? Such a powerful question because even if you don't know the type of job that you want to go into, by process of elimination, as you start to answer that question about what it is about your current place that you do not like, we can start to identify the type of positions that are not going to be a fit for you. So it is okay if you don't know what it is that you want. We could start with what it is that you don't want. So knowing your goal and knowing your starting point is absolutely imperative when it comes to creating change. So awareness, aim. So the third stage is alchemy. You're going to take the information that you have learned in the phase of awareness. And we've talked about what it is that you don't want, but you're also going to look at how are you showing up that is out of alignment with your ultimate goal. And we're also going to look at why you are showing up out of alignment with where it is that you desire to go. How does it serve you? How does it keep you playing the wrong game? And once we are clear on that, we're going to start releasing old stories, old patterns of behavior, old systems, old neural pathways, so that you can start to create a new identity, an identity that is in alignment with the version of you that has exactly what it is that you desire. The traditional meaning of alchemy, or the traditional meaning of an alchemist, it was a scientist who was able to turn lead into gold. So we are looking at all of those blocks to receiving or creating, all of the lead that keeps you feeling heavy and stuck. And we're creating space by using tools to help you let those things go. So once we've created space within our environment, so sometimes this is like our physical environment, what's happening externally, and certainly what is happening internally with our chemical processes, we are then going to ask ourselves, what replaces those old patterns, those old ways of thinking, those old beliefs? We're going to start reprogramming who we be. So this phase, the fourth phase, is all about adaptation. We are creating something new. And the fifth phase is really closely linked to the fourth. So it's like aim and aware. It's not interchangeable, but they're happening almost simultaneously. So our fifth phase is assimilation. And what we mean by this is embodiment. So we're going to create new ways of thinking and patterns of behavior in the adaptation phase. To start with, this is going to require a lot of conscious awareness. You're going to have to think about it. You're going to have to be consciously choosing to do things differently. In the assimilation phase, we take you from being consciously competent to unconsciously competent through repetition, through this becoming second nature. And as you embody the qualities and characteristics of the person that you are becoming, your new identity, this is how you are able to take consistent action in alignment. So really, the last three phases are all happening almost simultaneously. So adaptation, assimilation, and action. You can have all of the characters and qualities, or at least think you have all of the characters and qualities, but if you are not taking action in alignment with the goal, you're still not going to get the result that you desire. And so what will happen is you'll go through the process, and when everything works perfectly and easily, you'll just go through all of the 6 phases and then you'll get the result. But what happens 9 times out of 10 is that you hit a roadblock. There'll be contrast. There'll be environmental things that you have no control over that are hardwired within you to trigger certain ways of thinking and behaving that are out of alignment with what they need to be in order for you to be making progress. And so this is where the power of a really good coach and also the importance of self-awareness comes in, because you just move through the process again and again and again. And you combine that with looking at the foundational pillars. Why is it that I'm not asking for support even though I know that I need support? Okay, I'm not doing that because of this, 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 and this. Okay, we're now going to pop this into our alchemical container, and we're going to let go of this, 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 and this. And we're going to come up with some new processes and new systems that you can assimilate to. And so that's how it works. And depending on what your goal is, that can be a very time-bound process. It's like, this is not such a big deal. Give us 12 weeks and we're going to change this forever. And for other people who have something bigger that they're working on, sometimes it takes longer. And for somebody like me, who is forever in the process of wanting to change and up level, we work on one thing and then something else will come up with the next level of evolution. And I'm okay with that. So this is where we start with the foundations of transformation. And right from the get-go, I want to just ask you, which of the 4 pillars, so greatness, support, love, and co-creation, do you absolutely know that you need to lean into more if you're going to create the change that you desire to create? That's a really good starting point. And in the next episode, I am going to talk you through how you can go a lot deeper when it comes to the state of awareness and catching all of those moments where you revert to the old type versus the new. I hope that you found this episode useful and interesting, and I hope that you are excited about the second episode in this series. If this has been at all activating for you, I would love for you to do me a favor. Please share this on Instagram and tag me, or send it directly to a friend who you know right now is going through the process of transformation. Or if this has been like, well, I love the way that she's talking about this, and I would love to be able to share this with my clients, my students, or I want to build a coaching business so I can coach people on this, then please reach out, DM me with the word coach, and we can talk about where you are and what it would look like for you to be able to use this method to educate and support your own clients. You are amazing. Please remember that faith plus action equals miracles, and I look forward to being in your earbuds for the next episode.
Thank you for listening to Infinite Receiving with me, Susie Ashworth. I'd love to share with you my Infinite Receiving activation audio. Go to susieashworth.com/activate infinite receiving.